it's worth revealing any more strats that may be new. So if they lose this game, I don't think it's that big of a deal at all because they're still top 4. Because again, the third versus fourth place position, I think is based on the other side of the bracket's picks. So I think
the top of each group gets to pick between, I think, third and fourth of the other group.
So that means they're going to either play against CDEC or whoever finishes second in Group E, which we're not right now. It shows as Evil Geniuses. I'm quite sure CDEC is going to finish top of their group because they still have 2 games to play and they're by far the clear advantage person or team. But
EG and CDEC are squaring off during this heat right now on the main stream. Okay. I believe. So
I think they're the last game, the last set of the day. At least they were before.
Yeah, you're correct. Actually, you're right. They're in the heat after this. It's my mistake.
So there's a lot of things to go in to look into this. Maybe Complexity is throwing maybe their tier 2 strat, trying out the anti-Undying strategy. Maybe they're trying to, do they show weak here because they want to, I would assume you want to be as strong as possible. Show yourself as strong as possible. That way the better team of the 2 in Group B don't pick you. Mm-hmm. So I think there's advantage for that as long as they're not afraid to show strats. And honestly, they have so many strats, I don't think that's something they have to worry about. So I think they should just go all for it, try to take your win, keep your morale up, and keep your synergy up, and just keep grinding through the games.
Yeah. Well, at this point, it looks like Complexity will be playing the support Naga Siren with Ember Spirit as their final pickup. We'll see who's playing what here. Maybe it's Swindle on the Ember mid, Ziz on the Clink safe lane, and Moon Meander off lane on the Darkseer. Time will tell. For Fnatic, well, they've got plenty of time to think about this final pick. They'll need their mid laner here for Mushi. And he goes with Zeus. All right, the Thunder God to round things out. Interesting drop from Fnatic. Lacking on control. They've got some good team fighters, but the Earthshaker is their only lockdown.
You could kind of think of Tombstone as that, but it is going to be a support Undying with Johnny playing that. So
a 5 at that. Johnny plays super sacrificial 5 in most games.
Even more than a Dazzle, really?
Often,
I feel like as an Undying, you need at least a little bit of farm to be useful.
Yeah, then that's kind of the point that I'm making. Like, with their breakdown, he is he's down there with like FNG in terms of farm distribution.
Wow.
They play a true 5 and a true 4 rather than 2 4.5. So it's interesting to see him taking the Undying rather than the Dazzle.
Yeah, interesting, definitely. Ember Spear pick for Complexity. Very good versus PL, so I think that's a good last pick. This almost means for sure we're going to have a Lina support and an Naga support, especially with Ziz on Clink. So Ziz, it'll be a mid-Ember versus a Zeus, which I think is a decent... It's pretty good for Zeus, I think. It's good for both. I would say I
haven't seen that matchup too much.
The Zeus is easier to gank, I feel, because he can't escape very well, but at the same time, you can kill Flame Guard very, very easily with Zeus.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. And he can get rid of the Flame Guard, but at the same time, I don't know. I think it does come down to rotations more than just that heads-up match.
And interestingly, he actually goes for a Stout Shield Star. We don't see that very often in mid-heroes, but it will block a lot of the damage that Zeus does try to throw out, and he's got a Magic Stick, so it basically means that Ember Spirit, I feel like, should be able to lane this as aggressively as he wants to. The only downside is he can't just consistently farm with Flame Guard, because Zeus does so much magic damage that he will be able to break that, and that's the main damage source of Ember Spirit. So I think it'll be an okay matchup for both, honestly. They'll probably just passively farm is the way to go, and we'll see if that ends up being the case.
Okay, so it is a core shaker here. It looks like Ohio is the off-lane player. He'll take the Earth Shaker. Johnny on the Undying. A 2-1-2 from Fnatic. Mushi mid on the Zeus. No surprise there. Kechi Gimba, he'll be on the Shadow Priest Dazzle, and that leaves KYXY on the safe lane Phantom Lancer.
So the large camp is blocked. This is from the Dire lane, actually. And this may seem a little weird, like why would they block their own large camp? But that's because the Radiant offlane has an advantage by being able to do side pulls. So if they block that with the Sentry, those first couple levels aren't there, and there's no way for Complexity's Moon Meander to grab extra levels. And especially with the Darkseer, it's extra scary, because he just throws an Iron Shell on a creep, and oftentimes he can clear that whole wave, and sometimes the neutrals.
Yeah. And how will Complexity lane this? Did they do a 2-1-2 themselves? It seems so. Z-Freak going in, pokes them with an early Riptide. He'll be joined by Moon Meander here in the off lane. And for now, Fly's lingering around mid on the Lina. We'll probably see him spend most of his time down bottom supporting Ziz, but already looking to pressure Mushi if they can. Fly hasn't skilled anything up quite yet, but we'll just head right up to the high ground, gets the LSA, and they're going to make Mushi's life very difficult here.
This is especially hard because he only had 2 shared tangos, so Mushi can't even trade hits, and they have the same armor, they have about the same HP, and Lina hits slightly harder, so not a good trade for Mushi there, and just really happy for Swindlemelon, so he's able to get 3 of those CS. So
he does already get a kill with the Arc Lightning, though, so his bottle is on the way out. It's not all bad for the Zeus.
Definitely a little bit better there. He's actually, is he going to be able to snipe this courier? He knows, if he actually went straight for it, he had a chance maybe, but Mushi backed up a little bit and received the bottle. So bottle's out, and now Fly is, I don't know, I feel like he might as well just go back to the safe lane. Yeah. So this is being completely zoned here by Johnny on the Undying. Like, he just casted a triple decay. He can't trade hits. Ziz has maximum 245 HP. That's like a 5-hit. So they definitely need Fly to get back to the bot lane and help zone.
Definitely. Up top, we're seeing a lot of damage exchanging with the Dazzle here. They can heal through some of that Ion Shell damage, but this is a decent dual lane, even though it's both melee, Darkseer and Naga Siren. Very tanky early on. Pretty high armor across both of them, starting with 6. And they can put out a lot of harassment across the Riptide spam as well as all that Ion Shell damage. So not the easiest lane for PL to find farm, even though he is 5-0 already.
How often do you see like a free farm Earthshaker? It's so weird.
Not very often.
But it's done with the purpose of limiting the Clinks' farm, not as much guaranteeing the Earthshakers. But I'm sure Earthshaker's really happy about this too. And he's even got an early Stout Shield, something that we never see on an Earthshaker, but great against Alina as well as a Clinks. So I think the lane setup worked out a bit better for Fnatic here, because the carry got almost no farm. The Clinks at 2 CS, just hitting 3 now. Barely any farm in comparison to the mid, where Zeus is still doing fine at 10. So slightly disadvantageous lane setup there.
Mm-hmm. So, Ketchikimba here just trying to pull if he can. Moon Meander being an irritant, giving Naga some space in the lane to absorb some XP. I think Complexity have plenty of tools to deal with the Phantom Lancer this game. Oh, hold that thought. Ziz possibly in some trouble here. They've already got a Sentry Ward down, so he does need to be careful. LSA from Fly is on point, and they are laying in some damage. Those Searing Arrows starting to add up. Fissure almost. If he was on the other side of it, I think he's certainly dead there.
And a Magic Wand there to use at the perfect time by Ziz, and the last Decay does not get the kill. Johnny is actually quite limited on mana here.
Up top, Ketchikimba could be in trouble. He's gone for this greedy build, didn't skill Grave, but I don't think they know it. If they had that intel, Moon would have been much more tempted to dive that one.
I feel like they could have figured that out because he's only level 2, and they probably saw the Poison Touch come out.
Maybe he did use it. Maybe he just didn't want to dive it. Would have been a very close call, though.
Yeah, he very likely would have died afterwards. KOXY taking a lot of damage, opted for the early Ring of Regen. I'm going to assume this is building into something like a Vlad's, perhaps. The early Vlad's build is a possibility for PL, but it doesn't really build into a whole lot else that he's going to want. He doesn't want Tranquils. So Soul Ring, maybe. Probably a Vlad's, though.
Soul Ring PL could be a possibility. You see it on occasion. Not sure if it's the best investment early on for him.
He could also just sell this Ring of Regen at some point, because he definitely needs some extra regen against the Ion Shell that he's taking so much damage from.
Yeah. Never ideal to sell items back, but that is definitely an underrated strategy if you can pick up just a casual cloak or a casual ring like that. It's a pretty small investment, and you can get 50% back. Oftentimes you can find, what's the phrase I'm looking for here? Value out of that, I suppose. Okay.
I was like, surely it doesn't mean value. That's the obvious word. That's a great TP from Dazzle. And he'll be able to get out, costing him a TP, and most importantly, also allowing them to really pressure KOYXY here. And Z-Freak actually going a slightly different Naga build, going for the max Riptide. A lot of Nagas will just skip that out entirely, but you know, with that, he's able to pressure a lot harder, and they really do have the dual lane advantage here. Darkseer plus Naga, both very tanky, with some minus armor, and the Ensnare as well can really guarantee some kills. And look at that, Ion Shell alone, that's so cool. It kills the creeps. The last hits go to Moon, who wants to farm, but Z-Freak gets the experience. So despite them being on opposite ends here of the sandwich, so to speak, on the Phantom Lancer, they both get so many resources.
They want to go into KYXY here, but there's going to be a fight in the mid while this is going down. They're trying to dive Mushi, but they can't quite get him. Back up top, they'll go into KYXY. Nowhere for him to go. He does have a doppelganger, but it's only level 1.
Oh, good Fissure.
Beautiful Fissure indeed. Ketchikimba is nearby. He's already used his Grave to make it out, and it's still on cooldown from before.
Oh, this duel lane is so good.
First blood drawn by Moon Meander. Ketchikimba now on the run. He will have that Grave in just a couple of seconds. Moon Meander going to continue to commit here. But the ult from Zeus brings them both down. Now Swindle coming in for the cleanup. Can he bring down the Dazzle?
Oh, great.
He's going to bottle through the Flame Guard. Ohio, he wants to try to finish this off. The DOT's doing some damage, but it's Fnatic that come out big. A 3-for-1. First blood goes to Complexity, but Mushi with the perfectly timed ult.
That was such good plays from Fnatic there. Even though the Mango from Earthshaker to get the Fissure off afterwards, Like, Swindle Melons was absolutely sure he was going to kill that Dazzle, and the Enchant Totem slowed him down, and then to punish it worse, the Fissure Stun afterwards. Such sick plays from Fnatic there. That just looked like Complexity was about to stomp on them with the double Ion Shell chase. This dual lane is so smart, but it actually didn't work out for them, surprisingly.
Yeah. And as we were talking about, both these heroes in the offlane for Complexity have pretty high EHP early on, so they're very well suited for this. This is so easy for Z-Freak, and an extra point in the Riptide with the Poor Man's Shield, he can just tank those creeps and rinse and repeat. Mid lane, Swindle Melons initiated on. Ohio tries to block him out with the Fissure. There will be a race for the rune, and it will be picked up by the Dazzle. Swindle, though, staying aggressive here. He has a rotation from the Naga Siren, and they will change their minds and just head back to the lane.
Yeah, he forced the Dazzle to grab it at least, so that Zeus didn't grab the Invis, and very quickly Johnny grabbed the bounty in the bot lane, probably because Mushi wasn't going to want to walk all the way down there, so he just starts off the bottle crane, no big surprise, and Complexity continues their cutting of creeps on the top lane.
And there is a silver lining, I suppose, for Complexity here, is that Ziz is now getting a lot of space in that safe lane, because they pulled so many rotations up top. He's now number 2 on the CS chart overall, and he started off pretty low. Now Ohio, he walks right into Moon. He's got the Tranquil Boots, but they'll be broken. Now caught by the Ensnare. They don't want to commit for this, as there's a lot of movement coming towards these two heroes. All 5 of Fnatic starting to make their way over. Mushi will head back to the mid lane, but now Z-Freak gets surged up by Moon. He won't have it for himself. Another Fissure will be coming up in just a couple seconds here. Can Ohio find the angle to block out Moon Meander? Good positioning from Moon, trying to move around it, but he will get blocked out, and he is certainly going to fall. Nice gank there from Fnatic, but was it really 4 heroes just getting the Darkseer? Is this a worthy trade-off, Purge?
I mean, Ziz was farming during this, but maybe not entirely. I saw him grab a neutral creep and run towards the river, maybe thinking about going mid, but I haven't seen his CS go up a huge amount, so I think he did spend some time in the jungle, and I think that's still going to be worth it for Fnatic, because it is creating space. This dual lane pressure is not going as well as they want it to, and it's frankly going a lot worse than I thought it would. Those first couple kills are really the trade-off there. It's either they get those 2 kills and they get away alive, or the punish happens and now the dual lane becomes less and less effective and they limit their places to farm.
Yeah, Mushi's still number 1 on the net worth chart. That early double kill making his life so much easier. He has the early arcane boots, and now another 1,000 gold just sitting in that savings account. Johnny now rotates up to the top lane. They really want to deal with this dual lane from Complexity, and boy, are they. The Tombstone comes down. Z-Freak will be surged to try and run away. Moon will have to linger around a little bit longer, but he'll be safe, at least for now.
I'm kind of surprised he's still standing here killing creeps. This looked really dangerous for him. They do have an Observer Ward down, so they're going to be able to at least see Mushi rotate if he does commit to that. But the Surge alone, if only one hero is in danger, they always save them, which is pretty cool. Oh, yeah. Great heal there on the creep wave.
Very aggressive wards here from Complexity in general, all around the jungle, the lane, and that rotation from mid. Moon's now going to have to run for it. He takes a poison touch, also gets hit by a decay. He'll survive, and while we're looking at that, the Clinks actually gets killed here in the mid lane. Ohio getting credit for that one. Not really sure why he rotated out of the bottom lane, first of all, given that there is some space to be farmed, but yeah, missed that one, unfortunately.
I mean, him killing Clinks, or killing the Zeus is definitely possible, because Zeus is limited. He doesn't have an escape from it, so really they would just need a Sleight of Fist, Searing Chains, and about 4 attacks from Clinks to kill him. So it's definitely possible, but the setup must have been poor or something, because he actually died to the right of the tower, so maybe he was trying to poke in and got spotted by Fissure, initiated. I'm not sure. We'd have to watch it.
Yeah, possibly. Moon forced to surge away. Long range Lance will hit him, but he'll make it out. Okay. So Complexity just goes back to splitting the lanes. They'll give Fly some space. And this is one thing Complexity does really well in these lanes, is whenever someone leaves, the supports are right there to come in and soak it up. And Fly will find level 6 after another creep wave or so. Ohio smoked up, coming around the backside. Moon very low. There's the ult from Mushi. Great setup from Fnatic. Ohio will still walk through the tower, takes the ensnare, and then will TP home. Z-Freak will stay alive, but another kill on this Darkseer. That puts Moon now 1-3 in KDA.
And Mushi doesn't even have that many last hits. He's at 37-4, but he's got a Midas at 9 minutes 45 seconds. And if your team does get things done on the map and you're able to